Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Janice Smith.
I'm Madison Hill.
I'm Cindy Jansen.
Right, and today we are talking about advocating in the home, kind of specific to a woman's role in mothers. So the first question, which of these readings do you side with more and why, of the two articles that we read?
I did the Mothers Who Know just because it was given by the Legislative General President, and she felt inspired to share that message.
Yeah, hard to argue with that.
Yeah, I did too. I sided with that one. Even though some of the other ones, there was nothing horrible or bad in the other one. I don't think. It didn't sound horrible, but there was just this like hint of like they have an overriding knowledge that Julie B. Beck or, the prophets don't have, and they're old fashioned. That was my feeling. So I went towards the Mothers Who Know as well.
Yeah, I did as well. The other article, like you said, to me, like, it wasn't bad, but I feel like they just took everything she said personally, like, because she didn't give every little detail of what she meant, that all of a sudden she was saying incorrect things and they were, like, boycotting it. I think they missed the spirit of her message and just took it too literally. Okay. What did you think was the tone and focus of the What Women Know article? And did you see any of the philosophies of men mingled with doctrine? If so, where was it?
I think it was almost, the tone was, like you said, it seemed like they were taking it very personally. Like when the article said cleanliness depends upon access to resources and has more to do with priorities than purity of heart. And I think that's funny because we're supposed to be homemakers, we're supposed to try our best, but I've also heard many talks and many conversations from authorities of the church that say, the cleanliness of your home is not the most important at certain parts of your life. Like when you have small kids, sometimes it's better to leave the laundry and to go be with your children. And so I'm thinking maybe they just took this one message, they didn't take anything else into perspective and just said, oh my goodness, we can't do this. This is ridiculous. Women are oppressed. We can't be the housekeepers. It's like they just took it they're way too focused on exactly the words that she spoke and not so much that this is something that's been spoken along with so many other talks.
Yeah, I agree. And I wrote down, they talked about the responsibility to choose how, when, and whether they become parents, and that kind of went against, like, President Benson's quote. So I was kind of, like, I think it was Jennifer, that you said that they kind of felt like they overrided, that they had, the general authorities and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. Or they said, they talked about the Book of Mormon, the stripling warrior story, and they said it was an unutterable sadness, and that that we're ultimately responsible for our own salvation. And that was like the only thing that we should, be most focused on. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. But
One thing that's interesting about that, though, is, like, we are responsible for the choices that we make. There's, like, you can see partial truths, but I think they just miss it.
Yeah,
like you're headed a certain direction, but you take an exit and miss the direct route to what Heavenly Father is trying to express.
Absolutely.
And I don't remember what I was going to say. Okay. If there were a document titled What God Knows About Women and Mothers, which of the two articles you read would most closely resemble that? Pretty simple.
Definitely the Mothers Who Know.
Yeah.
That pretty much is what God knows about women and mothers. Direct revelation.
Yeah.
Well, and if you, even going along with that, if you have to bring in a scientific point of view, they're kind of genetically made up to be more of the nurturing type. And like they talked about how men and women should be equal in the nurturing, and that's fine. I'm not sure she said men cannot nurture your children. They didn't say that. It's just women are more made up to give nurturing to others. It's, I don't know. Look throughout history, and that's kind of where the role has been. And it's not that we are destined to stay right there, but I don't know. Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you're fine. I think that a lot of times people just look for reasons to be offended,
Mm.
and they interpret things however they want to rather than like feeling the spirit of it. I guess I love watching conference because I get personal revelation. How I'm hearing things and I keep an open mind is how I interpret things. But if I had a closed mind and I took everything so literally, I think I would be mad. That's just you were taught that we need to have open minds and open hearts so that we can learn just what Heavenly Father wants us to learn. So,
Oh, that was good.
okay. What do you know a woman's role to be in our Father's plan?
I think the family proclamation talks about it. That we're meant to be moms. The dads are meant to be the breadwinners of the family, and we're the nurturers, and they're supposed to teach our kids the majority of the time. And then I found a quote from um, it was from Elder Nelson, and he quoted one of the general authority or the first presidency messages, and he said, "Motherhood is near to divinity. It's the highest, holiest service to be assumed by mankind. It places her who honors its holy calling and service next to the angels." So that was cool. That it is such an important calling, and that's kind of our role. Is we're raising the next generation. We're taking care of his spirit children, and I think that's a huge role.
I agree. That was a really good quote.
Um, Cindy, you're the only one with kids so far. So, from personal experience, what's it like?
um, Not gonna lie, it's really hard. It's a hard job, but just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not rewarding, you know? Um, there are so many great parts of every single day that I'm just so thankful for. And then there are parts of the day where I feel like I'm a complete failure. But, when you have things like that, I think eventually it's like the rough stone and it's being ground down to eventually be smooth. So I'm hoping someday I'll be this really amazing person because you go through all these things that you're like, I can't handle this anymore. And then, you humble yourself and you do become hopefully better every day because it is so rewarding and it's so much fun, but it is hard. And I can see how people don't choose it. I can see that, but I think they don't have maybe that other perspective of how important it actually is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Were you gonna say something, Madison?
What was that?
Were you gonna say something?
No, no, no.
Okay. Um, I think that a lot of times that fear of, I'm gonna have to fail a few times when I'm a mother, um, scares people away from even trying. But there's so much hope in Heavenly Father's plan. Like pretty much, He just says, if you do your best, that's all I'm asking for. I just
Mm-hmm.
want you to do your very best to raise up children and be your very best mother that you can be. And that's going to mean you're going to fail sometimes and you're not going to like it. But I'm here for you, and I love your children, and I love you, so it's going to be fine. So there's a big message of hope in Heavenly Father's plan.
Oh,
A lot
I
of
agree.
responsibility, but a lot of hope. So,
Well, and there's a lot of direction, which I think is fantastic
yeah.
in the church. I mean, a lot of times they say, if you can do your scripture reading every day as a family and have your family home evening and have your family prayer, focus on those things. I mean, and our family home evenings are like 5 minutes long because our lessons, because their attention span of my 3-year-old, he's not going to sit there for very long. So we do something fun, but we make it a fun event. And I'm hoping, you know, it's more of the memory of the consistency and how it was important to us as families to do that. And so I love how in the gospel we are given all these tools and ways to help out and be a successful family. And when we do fail, we have resources in how to apologize to our children, or to, have them see you be the example, because we're not always going to be perfect examples for them.
In the video that we watched, the one that had which one was it? It was the one with like Christ on the cross and his mother was there. That video. At the beginning, I think it said that the life doesn't come with a manual; that it comes with a mother. But I think that the gospel is pretty close to a manual. It doesn't give step-by-step instructions. This is what you need to do, but it gives some pretty clear guidelines, like you said, like have family prayer, read your scriptures to your family, like do these really simple things, and then eventually you're gonna have an eternal family. Like you're gonna all be sealed because you're all gonna, I don't know, be righteous because of the choices that you make. That sounds like a pretty good manual to me.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything to add, Madison?
No, I agree with what you guys said.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure. Okay. How might a man's understanding and conviction of a woman's role dramatically impact the eternal well-being of children, families, and women?
When I
So
was thinking about this question, I thought about how if he understands that a woman should be, or not a woman, but like a mom should be home with her kids because that's her most important calling, then how that's going to really change the atmosphere of the family, and the woman will feel appreciated and the kids will have their mom to be with them and to raise them. And so I thought about that when I was thinking about that question.
Oh, I totally agree. I think when a man understands the woman's role, he is able to better see where you need help. Like, instead of saying, I don't know. So my husband grew up not LDS. And so his mom worked and his dad, they both worked full time. So at the beginning of our marriage, it was like he kind of thought that I would work full time, and I grew up in a different home. So I was like, I'm staying home with my kids. And so we had this back and forth. But now that we've married a long time now, and long time according to me, now I feel that we've kind of merged together in this idea that I stay home with the kids and I work with them on a lot of things, but he can sense when I need help and when he needs to step in, and then he will see this needs to be done, and he'll help me in these different areas around the house. So I like, and that's encouraged in the church. The husband is not supposed to just come home and just put their feet up and watch a football game and eat Cheetos while the wife like picks up the crumbs under his feet. That's not how it's supposed to go. And I think when the man understands the importance of the wife, he can see, and mothers, he can see where he can help and where he can add support and be that example as well to his children.
I agree. I think it also helps him perform his role better, and it strengthens marriage. My husband also didn't grow up a member of the church. So, like in the in-laws, I can see like the division of roles very clearly. But my husband's learned very quickly. He's had some great influences in his life that you support the woman wholeheartedly, and so he like when I was pregnant the first half of my pregnancy, he like did dishes and he cooked and he cleaned, and he just knew that I didn't feel well enough to really do very much, and so even that from the moment of conception he's been supporting me in having a family and having children. And I just think about I have some friends whose husbands just say like, suck it up. You're going to work. You're going to work today. I'm hungry. I need you to make me dinner. Like, that's your role as a woman, and it's very demeaning. I feel like it's not. There's this big, huge role of power to the women. Well, husbands can help support women feel empowered and feel like they're worth something. Without, I don't know. And their priesthood roles really help support that.
I agree.
Madison's video is gone, but can you still hear us, Madison?
I'm still here. I was just getting carsick watching myself.
Oh no.
So I switched to the video, or to the picture.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure you're still there.
Yeah.
Just need to do something for you. All right. Any other thoughts on that? On a man's understanding?
I think we
Okay.
covered it.
All right. The last question. The Savior has said that in the last days, even the very elect shall be deceived. How can we avoid being deceived by the world's philosophies of men and women's roles?
I think as long as we keep our testimony strong, if we're nurturing it every day, and we're trying to strengthen our testimony every day, then we are going to stay on that path, and we're not going to fall away, and we'll have the Spirit to be with us to discern the philosophies of men compared to what the church is saying.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are members of the church, and we have sustained our prophet. And if we support our prophet and have that own testimony, we don't have to follow blindly. We are encouraged to pray about things, but you have to have, as Madison had said, I think it was Madison who said earlier, that you have to have an open heart when you listen to things. And you have to have an open heart when you're praying about certain matters, maybe that you do have a concern about. It's okay to have concerns about things, but we're encouraged to pray and truly find out with the scriptures and with talks and with prayer, and I think that's how we can avoid it as well, being deceived.
I think you guys hit it pretty much on the head. Just we go to the temple and we say our own prayers as well as we say prayers with our spouse and with our children, and we're trying to live righteously, but the Lord will make it very clear to us, what's His philosophy and what's the philosophy of man. And I think sometimes that's a trial for people to not be able to do all those things and still not understand exactly what they should be doing. But just go forward with faith that you're doing the right thing. I think Heavenly Father will make it very clear if you're headed down the wrong path. So, all right, good discussion, guys.
Good job, man. Okay, you want me to sum up?
Sure.
Okay. So we talked about which readings we sided with more. I'm sorry, I have kids yelling in the background. I apologize. And we all decided that we all decided with Julie B. Beck's talk. The other article kind of missed the spirit of Julie B. Beck's message and was taken more personally and kind of offensively to those who wrote it. We also talked about the tone of the other article, the What Women Know, and how the writers kind of were overriding the general authorities. They talked about the Book of Mormon, the Stripling Warrior story, how it's so sad, and we're responsible. We alone are responsible for the choices we make, and the article just had some partial truths to it. They just missed the mark of the message of Julie B. Beck. We talked about that if the document were called What God Knows About Women and Mothers, that it would be more likely that it would resemble Julie B. Beck's talk of mothers who know. Just because, as I said before, the other article seemed very closed-minded and not open to revelation that we can seek personally when listening to Julie B. Beck's or reading her article. We talked about the family proclamation and how it talks about the roles of women, how moms are supposed to nurture and fathers are supposed to provide. And I think it was Madison who gave a quote from Elder Nelson that talked about women's roles as the highest, holiest service, that motherhood is that. And that's our most important calling, and it's a very big message of hope to be a mother and to have that role. We talked about a man's understanding and conviction of a woman's role, and how his understanding can help support his wife and his wife as a mother, that they can see ways to serve and to help him be an example to his family, and how the priesthood actually helps with those roles as well, that men are not supposed to be only providers, but also to be helpers at home as well. And the last question was, how can we avoid being deceived? And we talked about just having an open heart and a strong testimony. Kind of the primary answers of going to church and praying and studying our scriptures. And if we have questions, to really seek them out with diligent prayer, and that the Lord will make things clear for us if we have a deep desire to know them. And that sums up our discussion.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll Madison, just let us know when you're good to meet.
Okay, will do. I'll find out in the next like 2 hours, and I'll let you guys know.
Okay,
Sounds good.
no hurry.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Have a good day.
Okay,
All right,
see
you
you guys.
too. Bye.
Bye.